All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna check out its local search and its city search, see if either of them got BSS. All right, so we're back in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. And as always, our North Star here is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that, pin video up on the top, homepage, wherever. Now, this is because FSIC explains that all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got in white down there, our intent. Basically our intent spectrum, highest intent on the left, lowest intent over on the right. And so if a boudoir photography business is rising, it's most likely bringing in peeps from the entire intent spectrum, the whole length. And if it's if a boudoir photography business is falling, then most likely it's missing, not bringing in, some cohort of people. Now, the highest intent people over on the left are doing things like Google search, social media search, like a boudoir photo shoot in their city, like right now. And those people are fastest to the money, highest to convert. We talk about that with BSS here in our videos. And then our sister brand, way at the end over there, name is Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. That's where we are talking about BLCS. But right now, we're only currently working with the boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. So on to BSS. BSS is boudoir search sameness. As when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google for the highest intent buyer keywords in their city. And so 0 slots is awful. I mean, we're basically dead at that point. That's because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even reach page 2. So 80% of Google searches literally, one and done Google searches, or page 1 and done Google searches. So from page 2, only approximately 20% of searches of people searching will ever even find us. And page 1 slot, that's not good either. Or 1 slot on page 1. I mean, it's better, but we're still basically invisible because guess what? There's 10 organic slots on page 1. We got one of them, then there's basically 9 other boudoir photographers with 1 slot. Best scenario. Worst scenario is if another boudoir photographer is like 2 or 3, and then we're gonna really never getting looked at. But let's say everyone has 1. And guess what a buyer's doing? They're going down, clicking, open everyone's link on page 1, because approximately 80% of buyers ain't even hitting page 2. And guess what? They're contacting everyone on page 1, getting a quote from everyone, comparing, price gets shoved down through the roof or down through the floor. And kind of steals margin from everyone. So 0, 1 slots on page 1 on Google, no, that's BSS. We cannot deal with any of that. And that's because 0, 1 slots on page 1 on Google is actually not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. So it's super common, it's accepted, but symptom of 2 deeper root causes, and those are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, yeah, basically everyone knows this. It's like, seems like every week somebody gets a new iPhone, and then they're throwing up their Google My Business profile and their websites and the National Boudoir. That's kind of taking competition, page 1 organic slots away from us. Or someone gets a camera, and they're posting to the mom groups in the National Boudoir. Also, big wave of this happened during COVID. People lost their jobs, it's out there in money. So as a result, everyone's got a smartphone and an awesome camera. So pretty easy people to say that they now for boudoir. But what that does, increase the supply of boudoir photographers, but the number of buyers remains the same. So it makes it harder for every seller, every boudoir photographer to be getting those clients. All right, so everyone knows that. Basically, everyone knows that. Basically, nobody knows about this second thing, which is the false belief of page 1 equality. That is kind of boudoir photographers kind of automatically assuming without even questioning that every boudoir photographer is entitled, to like either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, maybe they had, their slot 8 on page 1 of Google with their website. So new boudoir photographers came in, ranked higher, and got pushed up to page 2. And it's like, oh, well, every boudoir photographer gets 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. It is what it is. And basically, they're believing there's nothing that can be done about it. So this is 100% incorrect. And I know this for a fact because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on Google, on page 1 of Google, to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in only 10 days with this new strategy we're going to show you all today, or, that I'll describe today. And it's kind of like we got to break through the mental barrier of accepting this as a false belief. And then once we do that, we can see, okay, there is a solution out there that we'll get to in like 2 pictures here. Okay, we can use this to actually literally get as many page 1 slots on Google as we want to put in the effort for. Next, boudoir photographer BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So disappearing boudoir photographer. Basically, if we got 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google, we're disappearing because we're either on page 2 or deeper. And approximately 8% of searchers are never going to find us. And that's the bulk of the market that we care about. And if we got 1 slot on page 1 on Google, we're being price shopped against the other 9, destroying our margins. We're basically invisible anyways. And we care about this because the disappearing boudoir photographer is the warning light. It's kind of the the red flag going up, where the disappearing boudoir photographer precedes the boudoir photography business itself disappearing. That's why we care about that. And we got our micro universe here. We got disappearing with boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one the false belief of page one equality, where we accept it's a false belief. So we're like, okay, now what's the solution? Boom, we finally got a solution. But through our testing, we've learned that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And we know this works because we invented it. It's what I use to go from 0 out of 10 slots, page one of Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page one of Google, in only 10 days. And I mean, it works exactly as it's described. We saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, pick up as many slots on social as possible on social search, and that kind of acts as like the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America, where the streams, the small rivers from the backside of the Andes Mountains actually all flow together to the Amazon River, and into the big Amazon River. That big Amazon River is like page one of Google, and so, but it all starts with social search saturation. That's where it all stems from. And the cool thing about this is the only solution I've ever seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight against market saturation, so maintain the business and not decline, but also still grow in the face of market saturation, and for it to happen relatively quickly, and those at least visible results of getting on page one of Google to happen relatively quickly. The only other solution that I have seen is having a strong brand, but that takes 5 to 10 years, which doesn't satisfy the relatively quickly criteria that we need. Because dude, we're in the AI. Dude, AI take a few shots. We gotta get as much. We gotta get as much slots on page one as Google as possible before AI starts taking people's jobs. And I mean, it's pretty easy to see SQ methodology can do this. So imagine we're in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and there's 1 million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got their websites and they shoot boudoir. So page one competition is insanely crazy. And let's say we take, we see that and we say, okay, we got to take S-cubed methodology to the max. So what we actually do is we actually do S-cubed methodology so hard that we're like the first 300 slots on social search for the highest intent keywords, highest intent buyer keywords for boudoir in our city across all the social networks. And then let's say that flows onto Google, and we're taking like the first 300 slots on Google for the highest intent keywords for boudoir buyers in our city. And it's 10 organic slots per page on Google. So we're literally taking out the first 30 pages on Google. So anytime any buyer looks up, types in a high intent buyer keyword into Google, or even any of the social networks, they're only seeing us. They basically got to go to like page 31 on Google to essentially find any of our competitors. And so once that happens, then basically once that happens, and buyers can essentially only find us, they only see us. Who are they going to go with? Obviously us, whose business will be growing, even though there's 999,999 other boudoir photographers. Obviously us, and whose business will be dying and disappearing because they essentially cannot be found at all for anyone searching. All our competitors. So again, this is why I said SQ methodology is the only thing I've seen that helps boudoir photographers maintain and still grow their business in the face of market saturation. That happens, or I can get on page one of Google relatively quickly, way faster than Brandon. In my estimation, I could probably build that brand about 8x faster normally because we show up so much more on so many other surfaces. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we now have page one visibility. So we got multiple slots on page one of Google as an initial benefit. Second initial benefit is every new slot we get on page one of Google, we're actually kicking one of our competitors at that slot, push them off to page one or deeper, making so approximately 80% of Google searches can never find them. So we turn them into disappearing boudoir photographers, where if they stay there, they're eventually going to exit, be kicked out of the market. So this is an awesome, second initial benefit using SQ's methodology. So we're making other peeps invisible. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So BSV, we actually, as far as GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page one of Google comes in. So GBC universe recommends 3 out of 10 slots page one of Google because basically every other boudoir photographer page one of Google will have 1 out of 10 slots or 1 slot. So if we see 3, or if a buyer sees 3, they're kind of subconsciously going to think, why is Google recommending this person so much? I guess I'll click into them and may not even click on any of our competitors. And second reason GBC Universe recommends 3 out of 10 as the minimum, because there's a tiny, tiny, tiny chance another boudoir photographer can have 2, which means we also got to be able to dominate them in that case as well, with us having 3. So, and the recommendation of 3 is basically if we got 3 out of 10 page one on Google, we're basically guaranteeing we're not declining. So we're guaranteeing we're either, treading water, so maintaining the business, or growing the business. Most likely growing the business, but we're at least not declining. That's like the big goal here. And finally, Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search visibility is a visible Boudoir photographer. So we got our full micro universe here. A disappearing Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one and the false belief page one equality. Now we have the solution S cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility, become a visible Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results doing this. So I wanted to rank for the term BLCS Boudoir. So I know, okay, the exact thing I do for that is S cubed methodology. I want to have as many slots page one Google as possible. So let's go down the organic slots. And we got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 9, no, I'm not slot 9. Slot 10, me. So, dude, I went from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in only 10 days, purely using S cubed methodology. So these are the results I've gotten for myself with it. Now, onto the main event here. We've got our Boudoir photography business. Going to check on them and, you know, their local search, their city search, page one on Google. Well, we want to see. And actually, I gotta bring these over. So we're going to Carefree, AZ. Yeah, I do remember looking at that. Northeast Phoenix, and then Phoenix, Arizona. All right, let's go over here. Boom. All right. Let's see what we got. Boom, we got one. Oh, Scottsdale. Okay, I think that's a part of Phoenix. So, boom, got one. Boom, we got two. Perfect. I don't believe that's her. Okay, boom, we got three. Boom, we got four. Boom, we got five. Boom, we got six. Awesome, dudes. 6 out of 10. So we overcome. We do not have BSS, and we have achieved the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10. Perfect. That's exactly what we want to see Boudoir photography businesses doing for the best chance for themselves. And now, oh, we gotta go to Phoenix actually. Phoenix. All right, so city's always harder to rank for because there's more peeps competing, more keyword momentum. All right, we got one. All right, so we do got BSS for, all right, so we got, we do not have BSS, and we did hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 for the local search, and we do not, we got BSS of for the city search, which city is always harder. Right? There's way more overlapping people trying to rank there. And we did not hit the recommended GBC minimum of 3 on the city search, which is actually normal. I don't know if, unless it's a small city or kind of a small town, I don't know if I've seen anyone hit that yet, or maybe like 1 or 2. Very difficult though. So if you are a disappearing Boudoir photographer and you actually want to, so you did local search for yourself, highest intent buyer keywords for Boudoir photo shoot in your city, and you saw that, and you did a local search and city search, and either you had BSS, Boudoir search sameness, or you simply did not reach the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 in Google for either one or both of those searches. And you finally see that S cubed methodology is your one path, your one solution forward out of everything. And you came to that conclusion because you realized, yeah, the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that. It's false. So you broke through. Now you're like, okay, what are the ways I can take as many slots on page 1 on Google as possible? And you realize Google PPC ads ain't going to cut it because they only give you 1 extra slot, PPC at the top, even if there's 2 slots available. And the momentum dies once you stop paying. With S cubed saturation, there is still momentum. Not infinite momentum, but there's still momentum with the strategy that will, keep the positions for a time. And so you like that. You like that you can get way more slots on page 1 than having, doing Google PPC. And you also understand the market saturation. Yeah, the 2 prongs, someone gets a new phone, iPhone, someone gets a new camera. Yeah. But they see this 3rd prong coming. And the 3rd prong you actually care about is, yeah, the third prong you actually care about is the AI taking people's jobs, as people still got to earn money, and everyone's got a smartphone with a great camera on it. It's going to be forcing way more boudoir photographers into the market, or at least way more people into the market to offer boudoir photography. Maybe they're new boudoir photographers. And so you like the initial benefits, getting more slots on Google. You like the initial extra benefit of kicking competitors off page one of Google so that they're relegated to page two, effectively invisible to approximately 80% of Google searches. It makes them disappear. They become a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means in short order their business will be disappearing as well. And you actually want the fortification benefits to prepare for AI bringing more and more boudoir photographers into the marketplace. And when you do that, again, executed methodology is the only solution that allows boudoir photographers to do that. It's kind of like building a levee like New Orleans has, because it's below sea level, so they build a sandbag levee, keep the ocean out. And so you decide you're going to do this for your boudoir photography business. Keep the ocean of supply of boudoir photographers out of your turf, page one of Google. So you see, an executed methodology is literally the only solution for you. Decide this is what you want to do to move forward with your business, to achieve page one visibility, to become a visible boudoir photographer, to have boudoir search visibility, because you know you need these things in order to become the number one boudoir photographer in your city. And you also like the secret back-end benefits of the SQ methodology as well that we have not talked about yet. But the first one's being every single day we successfully execute SQ methodology, what's actually happening is we're building these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our business, attached to our brand, attached to our website name, kind of our full name, our business name. And these only live in the AI mindshare, kind of the AI brain. And every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're actually increasing the probability that we show up as in the premium slot, the one boudoir photographer recommended in the AI overview here at the top of Google search. So that's one extended benefit, or further away benefit. The second further away benefit is, again, where every day we successfully execute methodology, we're increasing the probability all these different AI search options recommend us in their, in AI search. When someone's AI searching for boudoir photographer in their city, this is ChatGPT, Claude, Anthropic, and Microsoft Copilot, and Google Gemini. We're increasing the probability we get recommended these every day we do SQ methodology because we're building the invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our business. Columns of the Parthenon, building Athens, Greece, or think of it, hub and spoke, building these spokes off our business. And it's like invisible mindshare for AI. And you're also seeing, you decide you're going to be the early adopter, first adopter in your city because A, my plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, so you can close out all your competitors from using me by you hopping in with me. And B, that the more we execute daily on execute methodology, that the bigger initial benefits we get instantly, and also the bigger back-end momentum AI mindshare benefits we get over time, creating a massive gap between you and all your competitors that they're basically never going to be able to catch up on. And so you decide to be a first mover in your city on that, because the converse is, if a competitor works with me first, then they're going to be getting all those benefits, initial benefits, kicking you off page one, making you disappear, building up the AI mindshare in the back end. And for you to compete, you would have to rederive SQ methodology, which you'll never be 100% confident you've derived it correctly, to use correctly. You will have to then go execute SQ methodology equal to us executing every day with your competitor. And again, you'll never be 100% confident. So you probably most likely want to put in the effort to equal us. But even if you do, you equal our effort, okay, you're maintaining the gap that we've already built. The gap being the same distance. So you'd have to double or triple our effort, our execution, utilizing SQ methodology, which I invented, to close the gap on us. Who's got that time? Who's got 80 hours in a day to do all that? So you decide, screw all that. It's better to simply be the first mover in my city, and let's actually lock this in and start getting these initial benefits and the delayed benefits, the invisible mindshare AI and the AI brain benefits. So that's you. Shoot me a DM. When my DM's open, my DMs are currently not open. The hospital is not currently accepting new patients. But if you, when I do open the DMs, when I do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM. And we will see if you qualify for using S-cubed methodology.